What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackowitz. This is the Kaged Review. Sorry, the lighting's not quite good. I'm in a motel right now. Thankfully, because things have gone from bad to worse, and I made a very, very quick, like 2-minute post about it yesterday. And as you can see, I am out of the hospital. So essentially, what happens is I have a long time of some mysterious cardiac problems, but nothing big apparently, nothing life-threatening. It was just some abnormalities. It showed early repolarization, which I'll have to look that one up. And typically they see what's called pericarditis. It's kind of like an infection around the sac of your heart. There's a little ball of skin that wraps around your heart, and that can get infected. And so typically pericarditis isn't really that big of a deal. It goes away on its own normally. Sometimes they have to give you meds to kick it out. But normally it's not like life-threatening or anything. When you have chronic pericarditis, that's a different story. It can be a little bit life-threatening because obviously you're dealing with an infection around your heart. The other day, I woke up in AFib, atrial fibrillation, and it's essentially where the electrical impulses to your heart aren't moving correctly, and the top two chambers of your heart, they kind of spasm and they move really quick, and they don't pump as much blood into the lower chambers as they should. And apparently there's a controlled version of AFib and a not controlled version of AFib, and mine was apparently controlled, although my heart rate did get up to like 150 beats per minute, thankfully only briefly. But it's apparently at that point of 150 beats per minute to where it's like kind of going from controlled into, okay, we really need to do something about this. There's a lot of things that could happen with that: heart attack, stroke, a lot of bad things. So it was something that I woke up, I felt my pulse, and I just kind of felt weird, and I have this tendency to check my pulse anyway because with everything I've got going on, I've got like major anxiety issues now, like panic mode. So I checked my pulse, and I noticed that it was really off, like as soon as I woke up, and I'm like, something's not right, I need to get to the hospital right now. And sure enough, something was definitely not right. And by the time I got to the hospital, my body was shaking so bad that I couldn't control it. It was almost seizure-like. I wasn't in a seizure. I was just shaking really bad, but I could not control it. So I was really losing control of my body, and it was a pretty scary moment for me. I'm not gonna lie. I've always wondered how I would be when I really thought I was looking death in the face. And at this point, when you don't know enough about medicine, you think you're looking death in the face. And it's not really the first time, because I've been told like 3 other times, I think, that I was having a heart attack in the emergency room in the hospital. And thankfully that wasn't the case, but for some reason they were sure that I was having a heart attack. And so I've dealt with this stuff for quite some time, as you can tell, and this situation was really probably the scariest experience yet. Thankfully, the AFib, atrial fibrillation, didn't last that long. It lasted maybe a couple of few hours at most, and it seemed to start to really correct itself, which was great. You want it to correct itself, obviously. There's a big question of what caused it. It could be the pericarditis around my heart, because they were initially worried about like fluid around my heart, but they didn't echo. There's no fluid around my heart or anything like that. So there is a question of, was this an isolated incident that was, spawned from this pericarditis, or is there something else going on? Now, I've had very low potassium levels for a while, and potassium is really important to your body. It actually deals with a lot of electrical impulses. So if your potassium gets too low, well, that can probably trigger something too. And I've been outside in the heat a lot lately. As many of you know, I lost my place on the 7th of this month. And so being in the heat really affects me. And I already have a low potassium as is. So now the next week is probably going to be pretty critical for me in just making sure I do all the right things the right way. They gave me some prednisone, which is supposed to kick out the pericarditis, get rid of the infection. The only problem with that is prednisone is one of those things where it's like it causes you to lower your potassium levels. So I'm a person who already has low potassium levels. Now I'm taking something that's lowering them even further. And like I just said, potassium's kind of important in the electrical part of your heart, the electrical system in your body. And so it's something I really have to tread carefully with. I'm taking a new heart med. They gave me something to kind of stabilize my heart, especially while I'm taking the prednisone. And I'm going to have to talk to a cardiologist because unfortunately, when you don't have insurance, you're destitute. Hospitals don't really treat you the way they would if you did have insurance, and that is a fact. It's an unfortunate fact, but it's a fact of life. And there was really no answers at the hospital as to what caused it. Even the doctors said they don't really know. And so I'm dealing with, not really knowing what caused it, not knowing if there might be a repeat occurrence, not knowing if it's an isolated incident, if I actually need to take heart meds, because, right now, essentially what the emergency room doctors are doing is they're treating the symptoms, but not finding the problem. And that's the way of most emergency rooms, but unfortunately, without insurance, they do even less, and that's, like I said, it's just a sad fact of life. So yeah, my next few days are going to be starting this prednisone pack, which I start tomorrow. They gave me, I was in the hospital for 2 days, and they gave me 4 pills each day of prednisone, so I'm already on it. I have 6 days of a pack that they gave me that I have to take to try to kick this stuff out. And at the same time, I am on a new heart med that is, like I said, supposed to stabilize things, especially while I'm taking the prednisone. I'm going to talk to a doctor as soon as I can after that to try to get out of it, to try to all right, is this really something I have to take? Not that I mind taking it, but I want to find out if this was isolated or if, for some reason I'm starting to go into AFib. It is important to take it if it is AFib, though. Like if my heart's, just magically tuned into AFib now and things are going wrong, it's extremely important to take the med, and I absolutely would. I would never not take a heart med that I actually need. I just want to find out if I need it. And part of the reason is, like I said, it was, maybe maybe a few hours, and the AFib started to correct itself. They gave me some fluids, they gave me potassium in the hospital, and I suddenly started to even out. And so I kind of have to believe that there's something in there that's like, some outside effect is, causing this. And so it is a tricky period for me. The next few days, like I said, it's going to be interesting. And Di, my old roommate, was nice enough to give me a couple of nights in a motel. But even then, I'm here for 2 nights, but I have 6 days of this prednisone pack and all of this new medication that I'm taking, and I'm gonna be out in the heat, out in the day, And that's where it gets dangerous. I mean, that's where, things, I have to try to figure out a way to stay indoors, inside somewhere, because it's something that could have some bad effects on me. And so I have to be very conscious of that. So that's the update. Now, I did say that I have some reviews that I want to do. I watched Brightburn, and I did watch AEW, Double or Nothing. So I want to do the reviews for those. I'll do the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown reviews as well. I put in a couple of Skyrim posts because I just had them extra on the computer, and I thought I'd add them to the gaming channel. They're really not much. They're just the beginning of the game, just barely getting into it. But I at least wanted to get something in there too, because it's not like I've got my PS4 to actually play Mortal Kombat or anything right now. So I'm trying to get some posts in. Unfortunately, being in the hospital, having my health just completely decline on me for a couple of days, there wasn't much I could do except for get better. And honestly, that's still the main focus. So if I'm not posting a lot, forgive me, bear with me. I'm trying to get through some pretty critical moments here, and I don't know what to expect, and I don't know what's coming. I may be fine from here. I may wind up back in the hospital. I mean, who knows? I'm hoping to be fine and just get through this, and that would be ideal. But after 41 years, just waking up one day in AFib, well, even the doctor said that's really unusual. People have AFib and live, perfectly fine lives. People, can get AFib out of the blue. But, even the cardiologist, or at least the doctor that was there, he told me straight out, he's like, it's really unusual that a guy that's otherwise, healthy for all intents and purposes, to just get AFib, to just wake up with it, and there it is. So that does lead me to believe that there has to be some kind of outside stimuli or something that started that. It's a big question of, will it happen again? And unfortunately, I cannot answer that question. So, so this is just the update. I wanted to let everybody know what was happening with me. It's a big fucking shock to the system, honestly, both physically and now mentally. Like, I don't mind saying that I held it together until I left the hospital, and when I left, I was pretty emotional, man. Because with anxiety, it's like you're fearful of things that you can't control or may not even be there. And there's really no rationale to it. It takes on a whole new life when there's something there that is now defined that, you have to worry about. This is something that can kill you. So, hopefully mine's not that bad. And, I'm definitely not trying to borrow trouble when I say that, but it's, it's one of those things that you have to take very seriously. So, I am, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as far as doctor's orders and taking meds and, doing everything that I'm supposed to do on my end. I have some follow-ups to do, and that's all fine and good. I don't, like I said, I wish I could give you guys more of a definite on, like what the channel's going to look like and if I'm going to be able to post or not. And it's very touch and go right now with me. And so, my health is touch and go. That means everything in my life is. I will try to do reviews and post in some content. I hate recording like this, but it is what it is. It's funny too, because they got me on a blood thinner for the last couple of days. I'll be off of it probably tomorrow, and it'll start going back to normal. But I scratched my nose and it started bleeding, and it just would not stop. I got this nice little dot now, But yeah, just dealing with fun stuff like that. Right now, both sides of my stomach are just nuts. Well, one side is like really, really bruised because they give you a shot in your stomach for the blood thinner. So the first day doesn't look too bad, but the second day when I was already like, blood thinning out, huge bruise on my stomach now. Just not fun, man. Not a fun experience. Thankfully, I'm on the other side of at least that experience. Maybe not the whole scenario. Maybe it is the whole scenario. I'm past. Maybe this will, kick out the pericarditis and I won't have to worry about things after this. That would be ideal because I would like to get back to a normal life. And it's crazy because I made a Facebook post where I really feel this might be the roughest month of my life. Like just hitting the streets again, losing the car. Me and my girlfriend broke up a while ago, but we remained friends. But I'm kind of, it feels like there's a lot more separation there now. And we're still friends. We still talk. But, it just comes to dealing with this shit on your own. And then the flu that turns into bronchitis, that turns into pericarditis, that turns into AFib. I mean, it's like, can a dude get a fucking break? And that's, honestly, sometimes how I feel about it, because it's like, you know what? I had an amazing month last month. And then to walk into this, it's a bit much. It really is. So I'm trying to stay positive. I'm not trying to let everything get me down too much. I mean, life is going to happen, and eventually death is going to happen to us all. It's unavoidable. But it is a difficult pill to swallow. It really is. So I'm doing my best, like I said, to stay positive, keep in good spirits. I mean, the concert, believe it or not, has been some great memories. It has kind of carried me through some of this. Focusing on the YouTube channel has kind of carried me through some of this. It lets me focus on something else. And, it's sometimes the little things that keep you going. And right now, that's kind of where it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going on with my life, with my health, with the channel. Hopefully, I'll get everything, back to abnormal within a week or two. Ideally, I would love to, not have to worry about this, put it behind me, and move on with life. So, that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation out.